Hi, good morning everyone. This is Jaslin from Simply Nature and I'm on Healthyissexy on every Thursday at 8 a.m. Welcome back. Mabuhay and 大家早上好，大家早安. This is Jaslin in the Philippines and I'm doing a live on the Simply Nature Healthy and Sexy, and that's every Thursday at 8 a.m. Sorry running a bit late today, but I'm back with you guys. How have you been? And it's been past 2 weeks that I was on air and I'm sharing about the purpose of food. As I said in the beginning of the year, this is 2019 and I'm starting on the 5 main topic of human basic needs. I finished the topic on air. I had 3 to 4 episodes on air and I'm just touching on food. I was on air, water, food, and I'm going on the clothing and shelter that's going to affect your health. So today I'm still on the second topic of food. Last week I was on food, sharing about what's the purpose of the food, what are the food that we've been eating. Does your food convert to energy? Does it cause your blood sugar to be high? Are you insulin sensitive or insensitive? And does insulin help our body store extra glucose because of the food that you take? So as I said, why do we need food? We need food because food carry nutrients and we need the nutrients in our body so that it can facilitate the repair, restore, and giving nutrients to your health and giving you immune system. So today I'm still on the topic on food, and how many of you have been eating a lot of food for the past few months, especially after your I will keep saying, there's always having a lot of festive season, whether you're going on a party, whether you're celebrating on someone's wedding, you'll be eating a lot of food. We have been on this topic, and this is my second episode. On the following episode that we talk about food, I'll be talking about food that is going to heal or kill. But today I'll be talking on the first one, that the food that you're eating could be killing you. We should all know by now that food we eat either heals or kills us. Right? Anyone out there? Because this is something that we should be aware of. We have been spending money on food, but I'm not too sure if we are consuming food that is actually healing you or actually giving you issue in future. So many times we are eating food that is killing us, as I said, because there is indeed the rise of health concern. Diseases, chronic diseases is happening around us, among our friends, our relatives, our loved ones. Whether you're diabetic, high blood, high cholesterol, or even rapid increase of autoimmune disease, and cancer rate is going up. There goes. It must be something that we're not doing right. So let me start by sharing that the food that kills. Do you know that 80% of the food that we're consuming now are causing us this discomfort and health issue? The top food that cause chronic inflammation in our body. Even doctors are learning, that one of the best way to fight diseases and avoiding health issues is really avoiding the food that cause chronic inflammation. I mentioned inflammation many times in my episode. Inflammation is a cause of many health issue in today's world, and I'm going to touch on what actually is inflammation. This trigger a lot process known as inflammation, beneficial process which trigger for the right purposes. Okay. However, when this inflammation stays triggered day in and out, it becomes quite not so beneficial. In fact, our major health disease, like whether you name it, cancer, heart disease, stroke, diabetic, high blood, high cholesterol, gout, all this, arthritis, depression, even Alzheimer's, have all been linked to chronic inflammation. Arthritis is inflammation of the joint. Heart disease is inflammation of the arteries. ALS is inflammation of the central nervous system. And the list goes on and on and on. The inflammation theory of disease. Great. So inflammation causes disease. But how does it do that? What happens inside our body when inflammation becomes chronic and systemic, and how it is implicated in different disease? So I'm going to go on these common disease. Okay. inflammation is going to happen on cancer. According to health research by Government Institute of Medical Research, chronic inflammation causes cancer through tissue destructions and scarring, the reshaping of the tissue architect, as well as contributions to changes in your gene expression that sustain thermogenesis. The constant presence of inflammation in a body also creates an environment where cancer cells thrive. So in short, as much as you are, inflammation is needed for body to trigger certain signal so that the body is able to react. But inflammation shouldn't be constant, shouldn't be going on and on and on, because that actually in the reverse will cause cancer cells to continue to thrive. In a nutshell, it is believed that inflammation mediators such as cytokine, see, I'm getting technical again, but no choice. This is some technical terms that every one of us should know by now. And chemokine, when persistent in inflamed tissue, can induce proliferation, survival, and the growth of cells and modification of differentiation of the status of the cells, forcing them to undergo transformation. So, meaning to say that in any situation, cancer cells will be in a way mutated because of the constant cells will be mutated to become cancer cells in a situation where your body is inflamed day and night. So what else? For heart disease, how does inflammation came about? Even in heart disease, inflammation is implicated. When cholesterol-rich plaque built up in the blood vessel, the body perceives this as abnormal and foreign. As a result, the body tries to cover up the plaque from the rest of the flowing blood. And this, of course, can cause heart attack or stroke depending on how close the blocked artery is to the heart or the brain. So, meaning to say, because of the plaque getting thicker and thicker, your body is able to trigger this thing called the blood clot formation, because it is no longer normal again, and this actually causes your blood arteries to clot even further, and it inflame further, and then it again happen because the body is trying to protect, but instead of protecting, it has become a form of reactions to the body that is causing it to continue to block further and further. Therefore, you having this heart attack, the stroke, because of your arteries getting smaller and smaller. So again, then for diabetic, how does it go? For inflammation, cytokine that develop as a result of chronic inflammation can interfere with insulin signaling. Okay, so this result in increased insulin resistance and spiked blood sugar. The blood sugar spike trigger white blood cells to attack, and inflammation continue. And this is a vicious cycle again. As usual, when the body realizes there's a foreign attack, it will start to protect. Actually, that is the purpose of inflammation. But as it doesn't trigger likewise, it continues to go again and again and again, and this protection, it became a harm to the body. As a result, that's the risk of diabetic increase. So same goes for lung issues. Chronic inflammation is implicated in many lung disorder, even starting from asthma, which also includes chronic bronchitis. When the lungs are inflamed, fluids and mucus accumulate, making the airway narrow and breathing difficult. So same for bone health. Inflammation has even been associated with increased bone loss and the lack of bone growth. Scientists believe that cytokine, again, that result from systemic inflammation in the blood interfere with bone remodeling. This process, which is all damages pieces of bones that will actually replace the new one. So inflammation in the gut can also reduce the ability of the body to absorb certain nutrients, food like vitamin D and calcium, which are actually essential for bone renew bone health or bone replacement actions for the body. So inflammation in the gut is also is going to affect your bone health. By the way, you know that I just realized it when I was reading the research and doing this piece of information. So none other than the above disease that I mentioned, inflammation is also one of the cause of depressions. Not surprisingly, but it's been found on many research paper that people with depression had 30% more brain inflammation than those who were not depressed. Depression has been quite a big issue right now in the whole world. Whether you like it or not, it's happening. And depressions are actually causing other health disease after which will follow. So as I mentioned here, 30% more inflammation on the brain are actually caused by inflammations due to depressions. Another study published in the Journal of Clinical Psychiatry summarized similarly found that those are depressed have 45% level of C-reactive protein, which is in short called CRP, a marker for inflammation disease in blood samples. So it is true that inflammation is also one of the cause of depressions. So among mentioning all the health issue, that we all know that is coming and affecting our loved ones, our friends, even our relatives, get whether you are in your 20s, 30s, 50s, 60s, or even 70s. These are the common health disease that is coming pretty aggressively. The numbers are going up. I never seen the numbers coming down so far for the last 10 or 20 years of my life. So instead of not doing anything, I'm going to tell you the 6 most top food that cause inflammation in the body. Doctors will be looking at giving you drugs that is causing you helping you to reduce inflammations, but I'm going to share with you first what are the 6 top food that cause inflammation in the body. Vegetable and seed oil. All right, unlike extra virgin oil and coconut oil that I've mentioned in my previous episode last year, vegetable and seed oil are very often the cause of inflammations. These are the seeds that extract from plants using harsh solvent like hexane, and is actually a component of gasoline. Because of the way it is extracted, this will actually promote inflammations as a result of high omega-6 fatty acids content in the vegetable seed oil that you are using it. This include corn, sunflower, canola, which is a form of rapeseed oil, peanut, sesame, soybean oil, because of the process that they actually resulted in this a kind of content that is actually in the seed oil that after you consume is actually one of the cause of inflammation. Another one is number 2, dairy products. The reason people create so much mucus after consuming dairy is mainly because of this inflammation food. Dairy is actually an irritant, a foreign invader which triggers the inflammation response in the body. This is a protection mechanism. The body creates much mucus to protect ourselves from irritants. Like I mentioned, dairies you put in your body. So dairy products include cow milk, ice cream, some form of yogurt, cheese, cottage cheese, sour cream, cream cheese. So instead, what should we be using? Plant-based dairy alternative like almond, coconut milk, yogurt that's made of plant rather than animal products, right? Number 3, refined carbohydrates. Refined carbohydrates like your processed sugar, your white rice, these are snacks, your cakes that is made of refined sugar, cookies, bagels, which are actually made by a lot of refined carbohydrates, you know, I think it's not really the carbs that's having the problematic part, but it's the fact that it's processed, it is refined, that is causing us an endless uh, growth of inflammation in our gut. I mentioned before, you know, the colon health episode. If you have not heard of, just go to the YouTube and look for the one that say colon health. You know, colon health is so important because of many diseases that started from your gut. If your gut is not healthy, a lot of things will develop from there because toxicity accumulates at the gut level, and that's why the rest will come after. You know, the growth of inflammations, gut bacteria, which increase the risk of obesity and inflammation of bowel disease, resulted other disease that is coming after. So colon cancer, constipations, migraine, you know, diabetic, you know, it's a result of your gut health if you're not aware. All right, so everything that we do, it's a chain effect. You know, if you're on inflamed body, it's going to cause you this issue, and then it's going to cause you further health issues. So avoid using refined carbohydrates. All right, instead replace it with things that are natural, you know, potatoes, you know, sweet potatoes, beet, buckwheat, quinoa, you know, ripe fruits. Number 4, conventional meat. You know, when I'm talking about conventional meat, I'm talking about, again, processed meat. Sausage, bacon, ham, smoked meat, beef jerky are known to cause inflammation in your body because it's a process. Your body needs to take extra step to process the processed meat, and in turn it actually, you know, trigger inflammation because your body is trying to identify this as a foreign invader. And this inflammation process is a process, actually is a protection mechanism, but ended up it keeps doing it because you keep putting processed food, and it has to keep doing the process of inflammation. Is causing greater inflammation. So, you know, instead go for non-processed meat, fresh meat from the raft, you know, I mean from the supermarket, from the market, you know, use the fresh meat. In short, you know, not go through the process again that the body is going again to process or processed meat, in short. All right, so number 5, you know, refined sugar. Further on that you found in Coke snack bar, candy, baked sweet, sugary treats like cakes. This could create more inflammation in your body than expected. Instead, use coconut, plum sugar, maple syrup, and raw honey or fruits. Fruits as a replacement source of sugar in your cakes, in your soup, you know, in your dessert making, and that would actually save you a lot of problem in future. Again, if you can, go for non-processed sugar, coconut sugar, brown sugar that is not totally processed, so that again, I'm repeating, the body don't have to go through the process of processing processed food. Isn't it funny, right? Last but not least, trans fat. You know, artificial trans fats are some of the unhealthiest fats that you can eat and find on earth. You know, these oil are often listed as partially hydrogenated or hydrogenated oil on the ingredient list. You know, you just have to look at that. What is put on your ingredient list, you know, is part of the hydrogenated oil. They can be found in highly processed food like your snacks, crackers, potato chips, corn chips, you know, your what else, nacho chips, frozen food, margarine in extended shelf life. Trans fats have been shown to cause inflammation and health risks. You know, if you need all those what you call that, research paper, you can just private message me. I send it to you right away. Ingesting trans fat has also been linked with high level of inflammation markers, tumor factors, C-reactive proteins, I mentioned CRP. In the nurse health study, CRP level was 78% higher in women who reported the highest trans fat intake. I have no idea. Women has been taking a lot of trans fat coming from probably a lot of snacks food, you know. Maybe while you are watching your Korean drama, you are taking a lot of snacks. That's how it goes. You can see why steering clear away from this fat is actually a wise choice to make. You know, while you can really substitute anything just to make sure to stay away from this trans fat, you know, you should go reducing this, as you might not have any replacement on this trans fat things. Just stay away from it, you know. That would be great. You also need to understand, you know, by mentioning all the 6 that I've mentioned, you know, to avoid the 6 dangerous food to avoid, because these are the one that cause inflammations. As I repeat again, you know, avoid a vegetable or seed oil. Number 2, dairy products. Number 3, refined carbohydrates. You know, number 4, conventional meat, sausage. Number 5, you know, Shen on every Tuesday he would talk about cancer process and how to avoid cancer. He did mention one topic about sausage. So number 5, refined sugar, and last but not least 6, avoid trans fat food. You know, how do you avoid? Looking at your ingredient label. All right, it does mention. If it doesn't mention and you're not too familiar with that canned food or with that, anyway, any processed food could probably have trans fat, especially canned food and packed food, dry food, preserved food. Usually they have a little bit of trans fat in order to preserve and make the food stay tasty. So after mentioning the 6, you know, next week I'm going to talk on the food that heals. As I mentioned this week, food that kills. I hope I make it clear that these are the food that we should start to avoid. My topic on the food might stay longer because there's so much thing to talk about food. You know, especially in Philippines, right, my friends? You know, food is your way of life. Food is your life. Food is friends. You know, food is family. So I'm really going to talk a lot on food, main topic, and I'm just starting this week. Again, you know, mentioning to you food that kills. So, my friends, are you been taking food that is killing you or healing you? You know, 80% of the people are doing the food that is killing you. So, stay tuned. You know, this is Jaslin, Simply Nature, Healthy is Sexy, and I'm here with you Thursday, 8 a.m. and hope you enjoy yourself today. If you have been following me, that's great. You know, I have uploaded all the past episode on my YouTube channel, and if you miss anyone, you can just go back to my YouTube channel, which is at the link that I provided. All right, so follow us on Simply Nature. Of course, if you are already very familiar, go on to our click order. Simply Nature has a fantastic food, whole food that heals, and that is Simply Nature PPARS. Click on the order at simplynature.asia, and you'll find out more about Simply Nature PPARS. It's in tablet forms. It's a whole food. It's been known here. It's kind of food that heals, all right? So, brought to you by simplynature.asia, and this is Jaslin. Have a great week ahead, and stay tuned. You know, make sure from now on, take food that heals, all right? And all right, guys, see you guys. God bless you. Bye.